Hello and welcome to Blockchange Solidarity, the podcast where we ask what blockchain can do for us. What is blockchain? What is crypto? Could it rescue us from our current dystopia? Come with us as we explore the very real potential to enhance human freedom and as we delve into the darker side, predicting the Bond-villain potential of this current bleeding edge. Join us, a group of friends in a pub style, as we discuss the overlaps between this technology and politics, economics, the environment, culture and sci-fi, to understand for ourselves the seemingly mysterious futuristic world on our horizon. Okay, bang bang, welcome back everyone to another episode of Blockchain Solidarity. We're good to have you listening again, and this week we're finishing off a three-part series on scams, frauds, and dystopian crypto. And we're joined by Kyle, who was there for the Safe Moon episode, which popped off. Everyone loved that. Kyle, how's it going, buddy? Where are you at in the world? What's going on?
Hello, Alex. How you doing, mate? Yeah, I'm all good, thank you, man. I'm in England. It's a little bit chilly here, but I've got a nice, festive, warm cup of mulled wine. So it's far too hot to drink, though. So if you hear a scream, you know what's happened.
Oh man, I love a good bit of that's maybe one of the things I really miss about home this part of the year is getting that fucking warm glass of mulled wine in and sitting by the fire and watching some decent movies. You know?
It's minus 5 Celsius here, so it's like it's very cold. We had swans standing on the bank today in the park. It was incredible to see.
I'm just picturing that. I just like, because swans are usually smart animals. They must be dandering about that lake, just being like,
and it never happens in Southwest UK, so they must be saying, Donde la Goa. It never happens in Southwest UK, so they must be just really confused. So
I hope they migrate to Brazil or something, find some warm water.
Yeah, definitely. Get down to South Africa or something.
Exactly. The poor swans. Thoughts with the swans, everyone, this Christmas. But luckily we're swans, we don't eat them. It'll be the fucking turkeys. They'll have something really miserable to think about. Anyway, let's crack on with this. Cool. So this week we're finishing off, as you probably know, guys, listening in, the two-part series, now a three-part, on CBDCs, dreaded CBDCs, the most dystopian thing in crypto. And we're gonna, you may or may not know if you're listening to this what CBDCs are. They're different from crypto. It's the elite project to bring in a new economic system. So we're going to touch on what it is versus like decentralized crypto, Bitcoin, what you're all familiar with. And then we're going to talk about like what this means for freedom, how like our societies, it all fits into what's been going on, how it's actually going to impact our lives if this really does go full dystopian, and it will. And then we're going to set in just for the last bit, we're going to talk about like where does this all come from? Does it come from national governments? Is it coming from a darker, wider global agenda? And I think, as you will see, it's coming from a global agenda, the World Economic Forum, and Klaus goddamn Schwab. Cal, what's your first thought when you think of that Klaus Schwab character?
He sounds like a really, really old Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know if you've ever pictured that in your head when he talks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I find the guy a creep. I don't like him. I don't like his whole eating insects thing and, you know, all the agenda of this new world order and stuff. It really doesn't sit comfortably with me. But, and the way he dresses up in like that, you know, that bodysuit, like a wetsuit or something, and does these talks, it's just like a perfect Bond villain, isn't it? But this is actually real life, and it's incredible.
I didn't know that he ate insects, but that doesn't like. I mean, what the hell else does he probably eat? Probably drinks it with blood and eats it.
Well, he's trying to get the world to move on to an insect diet. Basically, he's a big advocate for that.
Oh my god! Yeah, you're right. The perfect summarization of this guy for folks that maybe are listening don't know this guy. He is he's a Bond villain who speaks like this Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of Bond villain, rubbing the cat in his seat and prognosticating to all the world's peoples about what we should all do. And it's like, we'll get on to him like later on, but like, who is this guy? Like, who died and made him king? Like, who died and made this motherfucker king? Like, and I was thinking about this. Democracy died. That's who, right? You know, democracy, Mother Democracy or Miss Democracy died, and this son of a bitch came in and made disastrous.
Yeah. We just have all these unelected officials, like getting involved with our democracies, and how do they have so much influence? It's just kind of really hard to believe.
It really is. It really is. So, without further ado, let's bounce into it. So, what is a CBDC? A few notes on this. Like, it's not actually built on blockchain, guys. It's like, that's a fraud. It's built on other distributed ledger technologies, but apparently they're wanting to associate it with blockchain because Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the other decentralized crypto is synonymous with blockchain, and blockchain's got a good name. So they're trying to sneak it in under that, but it's not. It's like, it's built on technologies that they'll control. It's not permissionless. It's not decentralized. They'll build it. They'll build this economic system their way, insider. We'll have to abide by their rules. They'll give, it's like a form of money that it's going to replace the dollar, fiat money, cash. And the way it's going to work is that all of us will just get like a set amount of, well, at least the people of the world. The elites will probably have all sorts of different rules for themselves, but for the people of the world, we'll get a set amount of CBDC straight into our wallet with the central bank, the government. So even banks, private banks are gone. You're going to have a relationship straight with the government. Like, oh my God, how totalitarian is that? They'll decide how much you'll get, what you can spend it on. They'll be watching absolutely everything, and if you don't use your set allowance of CBDC per month, and they might even take it back. So they could say, dude, what do you think about this? They could say, like, okay, you've got your 500 CBDCs and we want you to spend all of it before the end of the month. And if you don't spend all of it, we're taking it back. So you can't even build up like savings to prioritize your life, It's so insidious, isn't it?
Yeah, so what I thought about this was the only good thing that could be used for is that there's a notion that they might put people on universal basic income in the UK.
Right.
So basically giving people money for nothing. And I think they'd like to control totally what that's spent on. And also if it's not spent, it's gone. And that's the only reason I can see it being implemented. Because everything else just seems to, I don't know, there's just no sense in it, really.
Well, there is a lot of people out there who really do bow to mother government, and of course they'll bring it in with a set amount, UBI, free money, do what you want, or here's free money, and they'll bring it in probably in a really pernicious way, like that. It's really difficult to turn down free money, and they may not put too many rules and restrictions on it at the start, and that's how they get everyone in. But then you'll see them bringing in the rules over time. That's So let's go in. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I say it makes no sense, I mean, it makes no sense to me, like the working person. I think it suits a lot of other people, like the elite that we're talking about.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm perfect you said that, because one of the videos that I was watching in prep for this, they said, elites, in bringing this in, they know the current financial system is toast. And the phrase that this guy used was, they'd rather let the current financial and economic system, of which they've wrecked, of which we've suffered from the most, burn to the ground and replace it with this new one, so that they maintain complete control. They're not even considering decentralized crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the rest of it. They want to get rid of that and replace the current financial system with CBDCs so that they can maintain control. And that is so insidious. The IMF are all over this. Do you remember, buddy, at different stages, maybe it was, what was it on? Maybe it was on the pandemic or something else that they had. I think Fox News ran it, or someone else, where it was many different channels came out with the same narrative, and mainstream media do this anyway. They come out with the same narratives, they come out with the same talking points, and it's the same with this. IMF are driving the agenda with WEF are driving the agenda, but with the IMF, and the replacements of governments are all saying the same thing, that crypto is bad and CBDCs are good. So this isn't they're trying to crush crypto, decentralized crypto, as well as their agenda of bringing a CBDC in. It's all coordinated, isn't it? It's just, ugh.
Yeah, I've seen so many supercuts of news anchors or different channels saying exactly the same thing. It's like they're reading off a script.
Yeah.
It's not even it's not even the same narrative. It's word for word.
It's worth
and it's like 20 different channels saying it. So it's not coincidence.
No,
there's no way. I mean, the Great Reset and Build Back Better are the two most common recent terms, but these could be like full sentences. They're paraphrasing them, and it's just like unreal.
Oh yeah, and it has the beginnings, the markings of like Orwellian speech, like war is peace. Like soon it will be Bitcoin is evil, CBDCs are secure. Well, they're all kind of already saying that, but they'll put it in a way that is as dystopian as that, and everyone will, and that's how they get us. But yeah, anyway, so this is what they're trying to do. And there was actually a study, man, which I found really interesting. Like just to set this in some more context at the start, like. For folks listening, like, oh my God, you're probably thinking, like, this sounds so dystopian. There's no way the mass population are going to go for this, even if you give them UBI. And there is some data that kind of backs that up. But because it's like, there was a study done, and it said only between 4 and 12% of people would voluntarily adopt CBDCs. So I think a lot of people are skeptical of this, and because there has been a big fight back against CBDCs, it's like everyone realizes how totalitarian they could be. But we're only at the beginning of this. The elites in the system really haven't. Once they get going with the narratives, once they get going with the propaganda, you'll see that number will change, and unfortunately, a lot of people will buy into it. But I just thought that number right now was interesting. And hopefully it stays the same, because nobody wants this. Nobody wants their freedom taken away. There's no excuse for any government to need to know what the hell you're doing in your pocket, right? That is like so insidious. So let's place this in sort of quickly, like where it's come from and what it really means. So in the US especially, they've recently done this thing just with fiat money. They're bringing in like $600 transaction surveillance, and this has pissed a lot of people off, because the goddamn government isn't looking at like what corporations are doing with their money, what elites are doing, all tax havens. But say Joe Blogs is getting like $600 and he sent it to his wife or his son or something. They're going to look at every $600 transaction, and it's just another way for them to see what we're up to and to bring in this. It's like a precursor for CBDCs, and there's been a lot of pushback against that. But that's how it starts, isn't it? They'll start with this kind of like fiat system, looking at our money, and then we'll get used to that, and then that's the precursor to CBDCs, right? It's so insidious, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see it happening. I mean, they're starting to stigmatize cash. Do you remember during the pandemic, they're saying you could spread viruses with it? And all of a sudden, there was an excuse for everybody to start using contactless, bang, bang, bang. And now it's kind of second nature to many people. I mean, I still sometimes get paid in cash, which is great. Cash is king and all that. But a lot of jobs and a lot of people, they see a pay slip and a number in a bank account, and that's it. So cash is kind of annoying now for some people. I don't know, we're talking about crypto, but just as an example, how fiat cash is getting phased out.
It's getting phased out. It's all part of the same system, and some So even some crypto people are pro cash because it's better than it's better than the digital transactions that we currently have in the financial system, because there's so much surveillance on that. And they see the CBDCs coming, and they're like, oh my God, I'd rather have cash than CBDCs. But there's also a lot of crypto people who don't like cash, because that takes away from just going full throttle Bitcoin and Ethereum. But whatever your view on that debate, it's clear the elites want to outphase crypto, and they want to get rid of cash, because they lose some control with it. So let's tell the audience, like, what's the extent of this? So they're bringing it in. They've brought it in, right? A few years ago, like, people were looking at CBDCs and going, theoretical, maybe it'll happen, maybe it'll not. It was a bit like science fiction-y and dystopian in theory. But now, folks, it's happening now. It's launched in 11 countries have launched this CBDC. 112 other nations are at some stage of development of this. Like, it's here. Like, we look at this in another 24 months or even 12 months. Oh my God! Like, it's there. So this is right on our doorstep, folks. Like, get prepared for this. Like, start worrying. Cal's in the UK, aren't you, buddy? Like, you've seen Rishi Sunak. Like, he's all over this, isn't he? He's been like the one prime minister we've had who's like talking about this a lot, right?
Yeah, he's weffed up to his eyeballs. He is WEF, yeah, Mr. WEF. Thanks for a man. Yeah, he is part of the elite. He's so rich. I don't know if the audience is aware, but like him and his wife are worth £730 million.
Oh my God!
Yeah, twice as much as King Charles. Not saying that King Charles has earned any money in his life, really, but gives you some perspective, doesn't it?
Right. And this is our prime minister, right? Man of the people, there, you know.
Yeah, man of the people. Yeah, his wife's father. Yeah, he's in India. He's like one of the richest people. He's worth $4.6 billion. So, I mean, these people are just so... They have nothing in common, really, with Joe Public, to be honest.
And they have no idea how we live, no idea. Like, and it's all about control. It's all about control. They cannot lose control. So, and they're all working in sync. They are all working in sync. They've got the same agenda, maintain control of the economic system for their ends. So what does this all mean? So, like, it's coming in everywhere. Dear God, US, UK, Indonesia, Australia. And what does it mean? Government could track everything we do. But CBDCs aren't dystopian. I thought this was really insightful. CBDCs aren't dystopian necessarily because they have access to all our financial data. I mean, a lot of companies, a lot of FBI and CIA have that already, but they'd have it more within CBDCs that have access to everything. But it's not necessarily because that it's so dystopian, even though that's dystopian. But here's the crunch. Here's what it really is this CBDCs are programmatic money. And that's what me and Cal were just saying there at the top. They determine what the rules are for this game. So as we were saying, they can decide how much we get per month, what we spend it on, what we're not allowed to spend it on, and tangible examples. Okay, so here we go. Let's bring it down to earth for folks. Like they could send you like some sort of communication that says, hey Joe Blogs, oi. We've seen that you've been buying some cigars with that CBDC money this month. We're not really happy with that, so we're gonna like cut down on that, or we're gonna block your transactions from that. It could be that you're eating out with your friend in a fast food place 4 or 5 times a week or a month. They're like, yeah, we don't like how that's good for public health. Do you know what I mean? They could like, this is how literally. This is government in your pocket, you know, just to bring it down there for folks. And nobody wants that, you know. So this is really what it means. This is like a video game. The rules are programmatic. It can get as fascistic as you like, totalitarian as they like. You know, it's just crazy. So the implication of all this, and not the obvious consequence of all this, is that we're going to be mindless robots. And they're already determining what we can do. They're blaming it all on us. And this is just the next phase of it, man. Can you imagine, like, what is it something you like to do, Cal, that in your, like, I don't know, daily life or weekly life, maybe at the weekend, where you could think like a government in control could just cut down on you and say, that's enough of that?
Yeah, you put me on the spot now. I don't know. Yeah, it could be anything, like you say, anything that's frowned upon in society, I guess, really. Like maybe if you like to have, you drink too much, for example, or if you smoke, or if you choose to eat out at fast food restaurants. Everyone has their vice, right? So it could be any one of those. They could just, computer says no. Sorry.
Well, exactly. And now that we know with public health, climate change, everything is being top-down decided. It's not, and everyone, some people disagree on public health, climate change, whatever. But everyone agrees that it's top-down, and we get no say in it. And it always like blames us and puts the cost on us and takes away our freedoms. Public health is one example. Climate change is another that's been determined by these folks. So what if they turn around and say, no, that's enough cigarettes for you, buddy. Like we have public health to think about. It's just like. So
what it might do is, I was thinking about this, it might just create power vacuums or money going into a black market. If you can't buy cigarettes from the shop, you're going to buy them from the street corner.
Yeah,
that's why I can kind of see it not working in that respect.
Well, yeah, but how much of the black market how many people use the black market now in the world. I'm just not convinced that a majority of the people just won't go along with this because it's the easy, comfortable thing to do. But that's a fair point. It might be totalitarian, that there might be just a complete backlash from every quarter of society. It might be too much, and that 4 to 12% of people who would voluntarily. It's 4 to 12% who would voluntarily adopt CBDCs. So the guts of 90% or 95% that wouldn't. So maybe those 95% will stand up, despite the propaganda, that onslaught that we're about to get. So let's say to folks, because people might be thinking, I can imagine people are thinking, oh, come on, guys, like, calm down a bit there. Like, what are you talking about? Take a chill pill. This is probably going to happen in, I don't know, like, fucking China or I don't know, Russia or some place that our government tells us is like authoritarian and we're free, so it's going to happen over there, all that propaganda nonsense. But so I honestly do not have much to say in what happens in other parts of the world. I think there's too much of that. It's on their populations to figure out what they want, and we can have our views, but it's up to them. But I really want to bring it back to folks who probably take it for granted that it'll happen somewhere else, but not here. Folks, get this. And buddy, have you heard this? This is nuts. I couldn't believe this when I was doing the research for this. Like, our governments are already cracking down on our freedoms massively. Like, get this. Like, did you know? You tell me if you knew this. Like, Sweden recently has made it illegal for journalists to criticize the government. Did you know that? Yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah, but I'm not too sure. It might have been you that told me, actually. But I only heard it recently. Yeah, I think so. But I've not read into it. But it sounds very fitting of the times,
Right.
I'm not surprised.
Well, it's all going one way, isn't it? Nobody's shocked by this anymore. In Australia, a new law would allow government ministers to sue people critical of them. What? In Canada, of course, as we know, we've covered it on the pod before. In Canada. It's
the same countries. It's the same countries popping up, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. There's no distinctions between countries anymore. It's all the same.
No.
Canada, of course, we know, Trudeau stopped protesters getting access to their own bank accounts. Like, I mean, if that's not a precursor to what world we could be living in, like, I don't know what is. So we're seeing all these trends. This is pre-CBDCs, guys, right? They're looking at the $600 transactions. They're stopping you from criticizing them in government, and they're shutting off your bank account if you're just out protesting. Like, I mean, if that doesn't wake and fuck up and say, oh no, holy crap, this is going to happen in the West. Hopefully that does. That shook me the other day. I was like, oh God, I didn't realize. And of course in Switzerland now you can't heat your home above 19 degrees. I heard that as well. So everything's just being pushed downwards, isn't it, man?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a further attack on our freedoms. I can't see it being any more than that, really, from my point of view. I don't know. Yeah, it's sad to see, and I can't see it being stopped, really.
No. So that leads me on to the next question. Like, and folks might be wondering at this stage, like, how do we stop this? And in the prep for this episode, I guess, like, some people came up with some solutions that I don't know if I agree with, that are also realistic, but I guess we have to try. One of them was by voting out politicians that support CBDCs. Don't vote Rishi Sunak in, or vote him out if he's already in. Also, I don't know what you think about that, but another one is voting with your wallet, choosing not to use CBDCs when they're implemented. How realistic is those solutions, man?
Yeah. I mean, Rishi Sunak himself, he wasn't even voted in, really. Well, Boris Johnson was kicked out, and then Liz Truss, I can't remember, I think she was kicked out as well, or stepped down. Either or, then boom, Rishi Sunak, Mr. WEF, is just there. It's like, he's unelected, and he's making all of these big decisions, and it's just madness. It's madness.
So yeah, exactly. And dude, and this is, as we all probably know, this, and listeners from around the world, like, it's not just in the UK that those kind of things. And it's in Australia, for example, like, I know Australia well. They've had like 10 different prime ministers in a number of years. They never go to elections barely. Like, they just do like cutthroat politics behind the scenes and then put whoever they want in charge, So we know we don't get a say in who our leaders are anyway. So I don't think that's particularly realistic that much. Support with our voting with our wallets. Choose not to use CBDCs. Yeah, okay, maybe. But that again, when we said like they'll bring it in with the whole here's 1,000 UBI, and then everyone will buy into that. And then that's just like a gateway drug to then using the rules later. That's going to be really hard for people to say no to. But the only solution that I can think of, and dude, we're all about decentralized crypto here, is to make decentralized crypto more appealing, more accessible, and win that narrative. Because that's the only thing that's going to compete with CBDCs, you know?
Hey everyone, it's Alex. Just taking a second away from the chat to say thank you again for joining us on this journey. If you like what we're doing, please consider supporting us on our Patreon. We've put the link in the description. Times are very tough out there, so you can also help us in other ways, such as sharing or liking our content on social media, rating our podcast on iTunes, or just spreading the word about our project to your friends and networks. We've put all of these links in the description. Help us build the people system with blockchain. Now, let's get back to the chat.
How do we?
Yeah, it has to put up the crypto stock, surely, as an alternative to CBDCs. Because I mean, who wants every financial purchase tracked like that? It's just really invasive, and I don't know. It's not really what the free world's about, is it? At all?
No, and I don't even know, like, even in the global south here, like, you know, which wouldn't be called the West. Like, I'm in Brazil right now, Argentina. They're all pro decentralized crypto. They're all for Ethereum, Bitcoin. They can't get enough of it, you know, and they hate CBDCs because they have had so many years of their government and multi-corporations like, through the government just wrecking their lives, you know. So yeah, I think it's all around the world. People have had enough. And I do think, like, I honestly think like if we didn't have the things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the rest of it, decentralized crypto, and our only alternative to get out of the current system with CBDCs, then we'd be in for a tough battle here. But I think as there is an alternative, we might have some fucking hope, you know? Like, I mean, people can put their energies into that as a rival, as a competitor.
Yeah.
So folks, if you're listening, no financial advice on this pod, but have a think about your priorities. Yeah, not financial advice.
Yeah.
But so let's bounce on, and as we talked about it at the start, let's talk about like what's the wider agenda here, because it's like it's all about control of the economic system through CBDCs, but it's over wider political control, right? The elites of law, they've ruined this. They've built a system for 40 years now that's done nothing but work for them and crush everybody else. And now they've just exploited that so badly, exploited us so badly off the back of it that they've driven it off a cliff. So now they need to just jump into another system. So it's about political control. It's about economic control. It's about them not losing control, and they're just jumping off the sinking ship and moving on to another one. So where does this all come from? What was the first time you heard of the World Economic Forum, dude? Like, it's come out of nowhere in the last few years. It feels like
the Great Reset. When I started hearing the Great Reset, repeated. I thought, right, I've got to look into that. And then some of the other podcasts I listened to also picked up on it. So, and then this Klaus Schwab guy just turned up out of nowhere, and it was like, oh my God, what is going on?
Right, exactly. And
yeah.
I don't know. And do you know what's really interesting? Like, I mean, not to spend too much time on this gobshite, but like it's really interesting. Like, it seems like, this guy is pretty much at the center of a lot of what's going on, and you don't really see media or like political elites who might think he's taking up too much power, trying to take him down. He seems to like just be untouchable up there, like that's what surprises me a lot. I'm like, isn't there some like, I don't know, like populist out there, or I don't know, whoever, who's just like, screw this Klaus Schwab guy. I mean, I don't know if Trump did it. I don't know if anybody else has done it really.
Russell Brand, maybe, like probably the most kind of famous public eye person I can think of that really brings it to the table, but apart from that, no one.
You're right.
Not that I've seen.
There you go, and that tells you a lot, guys. Like people listening, like folks, like this is like we're having to go to independent media like Russell Brand now, Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, like Jimmy Dore, and others who are like calling these people out. And thank God for them. Like honestly, I might clip this and tag Russell Brand, so I'm name dropping him a bit here, but. No, but
do it. Shout out Russell Brand.
Shout out
love your work.
Brand. We love you. Yeah, exactly.
Legend.
Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, love them all.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them. So let's put it in a wider context for folks here. Hundreds of governments are exploring fully traceable, programmable, and permissionless-based digital currencies that will allow central banks to control what you can or cannot purchase. These CBDCs will require. Here's the next kicker. These CBDCs will require that every citizen have a digital wallet pegged to their digital identity, right? And this is what makes it so insidious. They're going to track who we are, what we're doing, what our reputation is, what's our behavior like, and they can tie it similar to what people say the social credit system in China. They're eventually going to tie it to make us robots, right? It's behavioral change. It's not just go and buy some sofas. We need sales in consumer goods to go up. This is about behavioral change. They want to mold us into a wider agenda of supporting what they want to support, economic or otherwise, political, social, cultural, the whole thing. And this is how they do it. They will get your identity and they will restrict your economic life off the basis of who you are. And as we say, this is unelected globalists at the World Economic Forum. Unelected, who the hell brought these guys in? Like, what the hell? And they're even tying it in. Like, this is how folks are going to be like aware of this. Like, they see it every day. They're tying this in, and this is coming from a report. It's their Future Focus 2025 report. Dude, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've just picked some points from it from the prep for this episode, and the overlapping linkages between this is nuts. So, like, they're talking about digital IDs with CBDCs and how there's misinformation efforts going on. So they'll say there has to be a parallel agenda, all of this, that if anyone basically talks shit about CBDCs, that's misinformation, Like, it's just like, you see all these parallel tracks of what they're bringing in and it all goes towards the same thing,
Yeah, I can't get over the similarities between CBDCs and a social credit scoring system. It's just... it's unreal because it hits everyone as well. Because even if you think, okay, it's just me against the government, I won't have it. In social credit scoring in China, if you have a low social credit score and you hang around with someone that has a high social credit score, their score gets affected. So all of a sudden, your friends don't want to be around you. It's really, really cruel, but clever at the same time. So, your financial purchases, if you start buying the wrong things and stuff like that, it might affect the people that you're around because they know where everyone is. And I don't know. It's Black Mirror, isn't it? It's so Black Mirror.
It's so Black Mirror. And you're right there about, and this brings me on to the next point, that I was just the whole misinformation thing, the social construction of behavior. And they admit it, dude. They admit it. And I think, you can have your thoughts about the pandemic. We don't want to get into it too much, but what we will all agree on is there was an atmosphere of lack of understanding, open-mindedness, and peer pressure was used to mold behavior, if you like, and mold what we all did through that time. And people differ on what they think of it in different ways, but peer pressure and psychology and, sort of from the top down and then through our communities, we all felt that in many different ways. Whether we agreed on masks or this or that, everyone felt it.
Yeah.
And they admitted to it.
Divide and conquer, wasn't it?
Divide and conquer, exactly. And peer pressure. So
a tale as old as time. Yeah.
All the time. Exactly. Consequence culture, I think, is what they're calling it now. We've moved on from cancel culture to consequence culture. It's all about just like divide and rule, as far as I'm concerned, from a top-down basis. But they even said, so get this, they've changed I could be getting this wrong, but I think they've changed the name of the Great Reset. That was to that was too like toxic, right? So or whatever, like it became too toxic in the culture. So they changed it to the great narrative now. And get this, this is what they say, right? In the battle for hearts and minds of human beings, narrative will consistently outperform data in its ability to influence human thinking and motivate human action. So the point there is that they couldn't. They did in their goddamn own report. They didn't have enough data to back up what was all their scare tactics and all the rest of it to bring in this agenda, and they know that, right? And that's why they're going with the great narrative and the battle for hearts and minds, because they know stories, narratives. They don't need raw data to back up their agenda. They don't need evidence.
No,
they just need narrative.
We've seen how powerful propaganda can be, haven't we, in recent times with current events. Name them, there's so many, but it's such a powerful tool, and to see it in real time and how effective it is, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, and it's happening in real time as yeah, exactly. And we're just moving from one thing to the other, and it's gaslighting, and you can't even hardly think. You're just like
It's so gaslighted. It's like literally, do not believe what's in front of your eyes. Don't look at these numbers. Don't look at this chart. It's and then they just tell you something else. Repeat it, and all of a sudden, it's embedded in there. I mean, not in this one, but in many.
Oh yeah.
And it's been unreal to watch it.
Misinformation, those words, misinformation, disinformation, like it's the most insane. Where did those, dude, like 4 years ago, maybe more, those words weren't in the common vernacular.
No. The fact checkers started coming out when the facts started coming out, when the truth started coming out. It's just bizarre.
I know, and I don't know why people don't kind of go, oh, wait a minute, these words, these things, these concepts weren't in our vernacular.
Yeah.
5 years ago, and suddenly
have you seen Twitter?
Thing in the world? Have
you seen Twitter now talking about the fact checkers from the, now Elon Musk has taken over. He's saying, well, these were the fact checkers they were using. And you just see the biases of these pages and stuff. You're like, and people were taking this as gospel truth.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Yeah, incredible.
Look, I would like to think we, all our sort of listeners, have so much distrust in mainstream institutions that I don't even need to say it, but I think there will be some people who have, varying views perhaps on certain things that are the current things of the day, right? Would it be the Ukraine war or the pandemic or whatever.
You said it, not me.
Right. It might just be minute differences. I don't know, whatever. But the thing is, I think everyone can agree on is like a lot of this is coming top down. We don't get a say. And it's head spinning. We were not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to even assess it. And that's it. That's maybe. And this is coming back to CBDCs. We won't be able to question CBDCs. And
no. It's all related. It's all tied in. It's all tied in. I think
it's all tied in, and they're open. About it. They're open about it. They literally say any journalists that questioned the CBDCs, we're going to label that misinformation. They're saying it. It's not us. It's not just me and you. It's not me and you going, I bet you they do that. They'll not be dumb enough.
Yeah, and when they try and divide us all into these little boxes, and they try and say it's us against us, basically, when it's not at all, we should be focusing on what they're doing, CBDCs, and asking questions. If it's us all together, left, right, whatever, against this, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And so, let's wrap up with some overall thoughts on where do we go from here. I think we're agreed. This is all about centralized, elite, directed change. I mean, look, that is the main overarching thing. I'll say it again. Anyone who's listening to this, the majority, I think, who will listen to this podcast and hear the clips, It's centralized, directed, elite change, no matter where on the political spectrum you are, right? If you're a working person, you're just normal folk out there, one thing we can agree on is that we're not deciding this. It ain't you, blah, 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 blah. It ain't me and it ain't Kyle. It's coming from top down, and we all agree on that. So even if it was bottom up, at least we maybe differences, let's have an old debate and a fight over it, but we're not getting a damn say in all this. So that's what it is. It's not in our interests, obviously. It's not democratic, obviously. It's all coming at our expense. we're the ones that are having to cut down on our heating in our homes, our fuel in the cars, the Dutch tractor drivers, the Canadian truckers, everywhere. It's always the people at the bottom are getting penalised and having to go out and protest and getting battered around the head for it, or losing access to their mobile or their bank accounts. It's always us, like, okay, maybe change needs to happen, but it's at our expense and we're being told what it is. So that's what this is. CBDCs is the next thing, but it's the all-encompassing mothership of dystopia, like, because it's the whole fucking economic system, folks. So that's what's going on here. CBDCs are central to this. It's all fitting together, as Kyle said. All of these patterns, we already see it. It's all coming together, one agenda. And the other insidious thing that I just wanted to bring out here, and I just it was me listening to this guy like Klaus Schwab in preparation for this, and he's just in his bloody well office in the Weve in I don't know where the hell the Weve is based, Switzerland maybe, or God knows, who knows.
Somewhere. Yeah, I think he's Austrian. Not maybe look it up, but I think so. Yeah, maybe that's just my Schwarzenegger thing in my head. I don't know.
Well, that just makes me think there was another evil Austrian, wasn't there, in recent history? Remember?
Yeah. Jesus.
But I was listening to this dude, and he's in his cave, his bat cave somewhere, who the fuck knows, and he's staring into the camera with all the authority of a democratically elected leader, right? Proselytizing what we should do, and he wraps this whole agenda, and he uses words like, "We have listened to you. You want this." It's that sort of insidious. It's for you, and we've listened to you, and this is what's good for you. Because you've told us that's what's good for you, right? And it's like, who the fuck's telling that guy what's good for us, Okay, you have some bureaucratic and, some elites, but it's not us. And they wrap it up in diverse. They use the words diversity, use the words humanitarianism. Like, they've just used these words and twisted them for their own agenda. And that's what makes it more Orwellian and more insidious. Because war is peace, and peace is strength, and all that crap, essentially what this is top-down tyranny is humanitarianism, so it's all happening.
He's German nationality. I just looked it up.
Is he German? Okay, so there might be.
He's German nationality, German, Swiss. So we weren't 100 miles away.
Oh, we weren't 100 miles away. Sorry for the Austrians out there. You want to sully your name any more than we have.
It's all love. It's all love.
It's all love, Austrians. We love everybody except for Elite. Okay, so this is what it is, dude. It's coming around the agenda, and let's not go on too much. Let's just keep it punchy and short and intense for folks. Guys listening, get on this. Look it up. We'll put some links in the show notes for you to look into this further. Share this pod. Talk to your friends about it. Not financial advice, but look at decentralized crypto. As you said, it might be the only alternative, because this is coming in thick and fast, and we might have already lost control. We might have already, the fight might be over. There's no coming back. Don't know, but I'd like to keep optimistic. What do you think, man? Is it over, or do we have some should we keep the glass half full?
Yeah, keep it half full, I think, 100%. I mean, it's not happened yet, and it could fail. Like, fundamentally, it could just fail. I don't know. What would homeless people do about cash? There's a lot of them, It's little things like that they would need to sort out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it could still fail. This could be a thing that fails, but I guess my pessimism, and I don't want to be pessimistic, but look what they've done, and look at the control they already have. And you're just wondering, like, anything that they want, they'll get. So yeah, folks, try and keep positive. There's the only way is to keep positive through all this, and stay tuned with us. That's the end of this 3-part series. We've covered SafeMoon, FTX, and now this CBDCs. I think we'll come back to CBDCs at some stage. We'll have to, because it's so dystopian, and track the many different threads of this as a team, as the anti-crypto fraud team. But for now, that's the 3-part series over. The next episode of Blockchange will be focused on Bitcoin, Ethereum. what better and how it's been implemented in Latin America, and then we'll come back and do another series with another episode with the anti-crypto fraud team. So we'll do that every 2 weeks. So yeah, thanks guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, thanks for joining, Carl. I'll see you at the next one, buddy.
Nice one, Alex. Take it easy, man.
Take it easy. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.